A lot of conversation here at the Mackinac Policy Conference has centered around downtown Detroit and development. And one man who is really in the middle of all of that conversation is Peter Cummings. He's a developer and he's a principal with the platform. Peter, it is good to see you.
Nice to see you, Christy.
You have projects ranging from the Fisher Building to residential projects to now projects in the neighborhood. And we were talking a little bit earlier and you said that being in Detroit right now as a developer is one of the most unique spaces because no project is the same.
Right. We have, I don't know, it may be a dozen projects, it may be a bit more. And one of the things that I find intellectually challenging and socially challenging is the fact that each project is different. I mean, you can't, Detroit is not an environment where a cookie cutter solution works. So we're involved with something as large as the Fisher Building and as small as the Obama Building. And your next question might well be, I know where the Fisher Building is. Tell me about the Obama.
I don't know the Obama Building. Tell me about that.
If you go to the corner of Grand River and Losser in the Northwest Grand River corridor, there's a building on the, I guess it would be the northeast corner that I bought in the Wayne County auctions. And I bought 4 or 5 properties in that auction because the Brightmoor neighborhood, Old Redford Brightmoor, is a neighborhood that that I'm committed to, and that my partner Dietrich and I are committed to. And the Obama Building is called the Obama Building because it has a mural right at the corner on the building of Michelle and Barack Obama dancing. So it's known in the community as the Obama Building, and we've just finished cleaning it out and re-roofing it, and we're getting ready to develop it with 3 apartments on the 2nd floor and 4 or 5 retail bays on the 1st floor. So that's at one end of the spectrum, and the Fisher Building, large, iconic. Building is at the other end of the spectrum, and we're doing all kinds of things in between.
Talk to me about the work that's going on at the Fisher Building right now, and I guess the sense of, I don't know, the sense of duty to be able to restore a building like that, knowing what it means to the city of Detroit.
Well, first of all, we view ourselves as stewards of that building, and we view our job as an obligation to pass it on to the next owner whenever that might occur, in a much better condition than it was in when we took it on. And my sort of analysis of the Fisher Building going in was that what we really needed to do was revitalize the New Center neighborhood, and that couldn't happen without revitalizing the Fisher Building. And we couldn't revitalize the Fisher Building without revitalizing the arcade, which is arguably the greatest indoor public space in the city of Detroit. So to be more specific about your question about what we're doing with the Fisher Building, I can just zoom in on the arcade and say what we're doing is first thing we had to do was to polish and clean. It's not very complicated, but there's a lot of bronze there, and it hadn't been polished or cleaned in maybe 10 years. The second thing we're doing is more fundamental, like infrastructure work. We've installed a new climate control system for that space. The Fisher lobby or arcade had never been air conditioned in its 90-year history.
Really? So
it was always warm in the summer. It's now cool in the summer and warm in the winter. So we're polishing and cleaning. We're doing backbone type of infrastructure work. We're leasing. We're now starting to lease. We just announced that Rachel Lutz is going to be opening a store in the Fisher Building. We're going to be announcing in the next week the first part of our food and beverage program for the arcade. And then the fourth thing is programming. And we've done extensive programming that spans, a wide gamut of activities. We've had a rock concert in the arcade with 1,400 people. We installed a half pipe in the arcade and had throngs from the skater community in that building for 3 or 4 days.
That's different ends right there. Talk to me a little bit about, when we focus so much on downtown, there's been so much conversation about downtown, midtown, News Center. Why is it important to now concentrate a lot of development in the neighborhoods? And you're engaged in a lot of that as well.
The city's 138 square miles. The area of focus has really been the 7.2 miles that are the core of the city. And for a recovery to be inclusive and sustainable, you simply can't pretend that the other 131 square miles aren't there, or that you can create this island, so to speak, and think that long term you will have a sustainable recovery. So I think that's why the neighborhoods are so important, and that's why, as one of our central missions, we decided to embrace the neighborhoods. And we've embraced 3 different neighborhoods, each for a very specific reason, and those reasons are strategic. I mean, there's 60, 70 neighborhoods at least in the city. And we've chosen 3 of the outer neighborhoods to make commitments to, really because of our commitment to inclusivity.
Well, we can't wait to see what happens next, and we'll be watching the Fisher Building as well as all the other developments. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Peter Cummings.
Nice to see you.
And we'll